Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's episode I'll be talking about this wonderful Canon MC camera. I'll be telling you the story of how I picked this camera up for 18 euros with the box, with the flash, in pretty much perfect condition. And also I'll be talking about how amazing this camera is. I think it's a sleeper camera, and how this camera might be a great alternative to the Olympus Mju 2. So stay tuned for that. So this video will be a first impressions video. I got the camera about 2 weeks ago. I already shot 2 entire rolls of Kodak Gold through the camera. So I'll be taking you along with me to fill the roll and also be showing you a lot of sample photographs so you can know what this camera, or more precisely, this wonderful little 35mm 2.8 lens is capable of. Apart from showing you the capabilities of the lens, I'll also be talking about the pros and the cons of the camera. So basically I'll be covering the things that I really liked about the camera while I was using it, and also the things that I felt like were a little bit annoying or not so intuitive. First and foremost, I quickly want to tell you the story of how I got the camera. So basically I was interested in this camera for 4 years already. When I was actively searching a couple of years ago, I realized the camera is pretty expensive and pretty rare, so it was not easy to find a good deal on the camera. Fast forward 2 weeks ago, I basically opened my phone, went onto Kleinanzeigen, which is pretty similar to Facebook Marketplace, and found this camera in the original box in pretty much perfect condition for 18 euros. So I basically couldn't believe my luck, and I instantly wrote a message to this lady saying I really want to buy this camera. She didn't respond to me for the entire day, so I was like, okay, probably somebody else got the camera. And then the next day I wake up to a message where she says, hey, I got flooded with messages, but you were the first one who wrote me and you can buy this wonderful Canon MC from me. And as you can already see, it's in great condition. After a couple of days I got the package. So as I said, it came with the original box and with the flash unit as well. Unfortunately though, that was the first thing that I noticed. The flash unit was broken, so there was a bunch of corrosion on the contacts. I'm still cleaning them right now, hoping that it might work. If you have any good tips on how to get rid of the corrosion on these contacts, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. I would be very happy to find that out. Luckily, the camera works really well. As you can see, aperture is closing. The motor works well, so I was very relieved because the woman sold the camera as untested. So right now I will be showing you the first roll that I filled. And honestly, I gotta admit, I didn't really film a lot of behind the scenes because I was just so excited to take this camera out with me, and I just got lost in shooting. Just to give you a little bit of context, the camera was released in April of 1984. The Olympus XA was released in 1979, and the Olympus AF1, so Olympus' first kind of autofocus point and shoot camera, was released in 1985. So 1 year after the Canon MC was released, Olympus also came out with an autofocus point and shoot camera. If you're wondering what the MC stands for, it stands for micro compact camera. So you can really see the dimensions of the camera, very small. I want to give you a very quick rundown of the specs of the camera. So basically this camera has a 35mm 2.8 lens that has 4 elements and 4 groups. What I really love about the camera is the fact that you can manually select your ISO. So down here you see this little window, you can change the ISO from 64 all the way up to 1000. So that is pretty lovely and definitely a pro of the camera, because not a lot of point and shoots allow you to manually select the ISO, which then in turn allows you to over or underexpose your film. That is exactly what I did for both rolls of Kodak Gold that I shot, because I thought if I already have the possibility to do so, I might as well. So the first roll that I shot, I exposed Kodak Gold at ISO 100, and in the second roll I even pushed it a little bit further and set the ISO to 64, overexposing the film by about 1.5 stops. In terms of the shutter speeds that this camera can use, they go from 1/8 of a second all the way up to 1/500th of a second, and the minimum focusing distance is 0.9 meters, which for my American audience out there is about 3 feet. The camera runs on AAA batteries, which is pretty convenient because you can basically buy them anywhere. Also, the flash runs on AAA batteries as well. Lastly, one thing that I wanted to mention is the fact that the viewfinder has a focusing indication. So basically, when you're taking a shot, the camera will, inside of the viewfinder, tell you what it focused on. There's also a pre-focusing mode that I'll be covering a little bit later in the video. Now it's time to hear from you guys and girls. What is your favorite point and shoot camera? Also, what is maybe an underrated point and shoot camera that not a lot of people know about? Let me know down in the comment section below. So let us jump into the second roll of Kodak Gold that I'm filling with my Canon MC, this time with a lot of behind the scenes footage, so you will be a part of this experience. I actually decided to visit this very old cemetery in the middle of Berlin, where some of the graves are almost 300 years old already. I know it might sound a little bit creepy, but I do honestly enjoy cemeteries quite a lot, especially in a loud and noisy city like Berlin. These spaces are oftentimes very quiet, and they can be great to discover small details that would otherwise go unnoticed. I also want to say a big hello and welcome to all of the new viewers. My name is Valentin. I'm an analog photographer based here in Berlin, and I do these YouTube videos in which I'm talking about pretty much anything connected to film photography. So I'm doing camera reviews, pushing film, anything that I find fascinating or interesting I like to share here on my YouTube channel. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can become a part of this beautiful community. Let's jump back into the main program. What are some of the things that I instantly realized about the camera that I like about it? First and foremost, we gotta talk about the compact size of the camera. So the camera is pretty small. I'll be comparing it to the Olympus Mju 2, and you can see it is really small. It's a little bit bulkier than the Mju 2 maybe, but just in terms of the size, it can definitely compete with the Mju 2. So throughout this video, I will be referring to the Olympus Mju 2 just as a point of reference, because I think that the Canon MC is definitely a great alternative to the camera, and the Mju 2 nowadays costs around 250 to 350 euros. This one goes for around 50 to maybe 100. Secondly, I feel like the autofocus is very snappy. So when I'm looking through here and I'm taking a picture, I was surprised and impressed by how fast this camera focuses. And I gotta say, the photographs that it produced were amazing. I'm really excited to talk about the photographs with you, show them to you, to show you what this camera is capable of. I gotta say personally, before we dive into them, I think that honestly, hands down, it delivered better results than the Olympus Mju 2 in many regards. So let us look at the photographs together, talk about the photographs, and then after that we will be talking about the negative points, so the points that I felt like were annoying me a little bit. So after getting the scans back, I gotta say I was really positively surprised by the results, and also especially by the light meter of the camera. I felt like in a lot of very dynamic situations, the camera delivered really good results with retaining a lot of information in the highlights and also in the shadows. At this point, I also gotta mention one more time that I overexposed the film by one stop. So I shot the entire first roll at ISO 100 and the second roll even at ISO 64, which might not have been the best idea. I'll be talking about why in a little bit. Generally speaking, I felt like the light meter worked really well, especially with the overexposure. Secondly, something I realized was how sharp this lens is, especially when it was bright outside. The lens was able to stop down a little bit. It was sharp pretty much straight until the corners, which I really didn't expect. Honestly, I gotta say, when I shot the first roll through this thing, I was like, I have no idea what to expect. Kind of low expectations, to be honest, but my expectations were shattered. I'm really happy with the results, and as I said, the lens was really sharp when it stopped down, but even when it was kind of open, it was still pretty sharp, so I was very happy about that. Also, I feel like the lens has some sort of a 80s Canon vintage rendering. Maybe it's just my personal feeling, but I feel like the colors oftentimes were pretty punchy, pretty strong, nice contrast, so I really liked the overall rendering of the lens on the Kodak Gold that I was shooting. Also, something that I already touched upon, but that I can definitely confirm after seeing the results, is the fact that the autofocus is really good. It is pretty snappy and it worked really well. Let's talk a little bit about pre-focusing, because I think that is something that is a positive but also a negative. So basically the standard for this camera is that the autofocus patch is in the middle, and if you want to take a picture and your subject is not in the middle of the picture but on the side, for example, it would not be in focus. So what you have to do in that case is you pull that lever to the side like this, and now it engaged in the pre-focusing mode. So now you look through the camera, you're focusing on something, the camera locks the focus in, and then you can rearrange your composition and take a photograph with the locked focus. That is really nice, and I use that feature a lot because in my photography, sometimes, for example, I'm photographing a pole with some stickers on it, but the pole is not in the middle of the photograph, or I don't want the pole to be in the middle of the photograph, but towards the side, for example. So I'm a big fan of the capability of pre-focusing. In my opinion, the pre-focusing worked really, really well in the photograph. So on all of them where I did pre-focus, the focus was hit, and then I could rearrange the composition. The only thing that I realized that was kind of annoying me is the fact that it's kind of a two-step process. So basically, a camera like the Olympus Mju 2, what you do is you look through the viewfinder, you press on the focusing, and then it tells you it achieved focus, and now you can rearrange your composition and just press the shutter button and you're good to go. Whereas with the Canon MC, you have to look through there, do the pre-focusing button, pre-focus, rearrange, and shoot. So it's not that intuitive and it's not that fast as in the Olympus Mju 2, for example. I think for the time when this camera came out, it was probably just the best that they were able to do, but I wanted to mention that you have the possibility of pre-focusing. It's just a little extra step that you have to take. In terms of the bokeh you're able to create or the separation you're able to create, I will show you some example photographs where it was possible. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not the case that you're going to be able to create some crazy bokeh. That is not necessarily due to the fact that this has a 2.8 aperture. 2.8 is actually not that bad, but more due to the fact that this camera's close focusing range is 0.9 meters. So you have to be kind of far away from your subject in order to be able to take a picture. Whereas on the Olympus Mju 2, the close focusing range, I think, is 30 centimeters, which is about probably 12 inches. You can really get up close and the camera will tell you when you're too close. There's a little blinking indicator in the viewfinder of the Mju 2 telling you, hey, stop, you're too close to your subject, back off a little bit. Whereas on the Canon MC, you don't have any possibility of knowing, are you too close, are you too far away. Also something that I wanted to talk about regarding the pre-focusing, what annoyed me a little bit is the fact that once you set your pre-focus, so you're looking through the viewfinder, activate the pre-focusing button, trip the shutter button, focus is set, there's no way to reset this focus. So then you have to take a picture from this distance. There's no way of resetting the focus that you locked. So basically you have to take that picture. It's not a huge deal, but something that I realized that would have been nice if, for example, you can just reactivate that button one more time and then the pre-focus is lost, so to say. But generally speaking, I gotta say, I'm super happy with the photographs. I think shooting at ISO 64 was pushing it a little bit too much. So in hindsight, when I was editing the photographs of the Kodak Gold shot at 64, mostly at the cemetery and around that area, I realized that I was kind of pushing the exposure down a little bit. So it was a little bit too bright in my opinion. And also I feel like the lens was starting to be wide open most of the time because the available light was not that much. So I feel like the photographs were a little bit unsharp towards the corners, a little glowy, not necessarily vignette, but not the results I was hoping for. So I think in the future I will stay with shooting Kodak Gold at ISO 100 with this camera because these results were really, really nice. Overall, I gotta say I'm super happy about this camera, the Canon MC. It's an absolute beauty. It has snappy autofocus, it has manual ISO setting, it has a self timer, it has a pre-focus. In theory, it also has a flash that is able to be attached. Apart from that, I think for 18 euros, you can't do anything wrong with that. And even if you paid 50 or 100 bucks for this camera, I think it's really worth it. It's definitely a great competitor to the Olympus Mju 2, Olympus Mju 1, also to the Nikon L35AF. I mean, it's pretty much the same camera. Only thing that I wanted to mention is the fact that when we're talking about the size of the camera, you know, they are the same size, but here in the Olympus Mju 2 you have the flash built within the camera, whereas here you would have to attach the flash onto the side of the camera, which would mean that the camera does become quite a bit bigger. So if we're comparing that, obviously, now the Mju 2 is much smaller. That was just something that I really wanted to mention. So as I was already saying, overall, I think that the camera delivered some beautiful results. The lens is really sharp. You can create some bokeh as well. And the snappy autofocus, just how fast and easy it is to use this camera is really, really nice and beautiful. I'm very happy that I found this camera. I'm going to be keeping this camera and definitely using it more. I think in the next film that I'm going to be putting in there, I'll be shooting some HP5 rated at 1000. So I don't really need to use that pre-focusing as much, because then I have a lot of depth of field. Preferably when it's sunny outside, you know, I can go outside and just kind of use it like a zone focusing camera for some street photography. So I'm excited for that as well. But overall, I'm very happy about this camera, about the capability to pre-focus, about the size of the camera, and obviously that I picked it up for 18 bucks. So that was definitely a steal. That's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did so, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more of my work, you can head on over to my Instagram or my website, also linked in the description below. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. It really means the world to me, knowing that so many of you are tuning in pretty much every week, leaving me comments, discussing. You know, I love this kind of community feeling. So thank you very much.